Hey guys, welcome to the Blue Wave. So we got the Republican debate coming up here in about 3 hours from now in real time. And I wanted to get a video basically just kind of getting my thoughts out about what's at stake in this debate and who has the most to gain and who has the most to lose. So the last debate, what we saw is Vivek Ramaswamy really make a pretty big splash onto the national scene and take heat from multiple people on the debate stage, including maybe most notably Mike Pence and Nikki Haley, who were visibly had disdain for Ramaswamy's presence on the stage and the points that he was making. Now, Ramaswamy sort of didn't translate his debate performance into the polling numbers, maybe in the way that a lot of people were expecting. And it's because when you look at some of Ramaswamy's policy points, like think his position on the Ukraine-Russia conflict, it turns out that a lot of people really disagree with a lot of Ramaswamy's policy points, even people in the GOP. And when people kind of started to get more of a detailed look at Ramaswamy and what he stands for and really just how he came to be, I think that there's not a lot that's super likable there about Ramaswamy. And there's not a lot that especially working class and blue collar people, voters, have to relate to Ramaswamy. And I think it's sort of why we haven't seen him catapult ahead in the polls like a lot of people were thinking he might, due to his very solid debate performance. So what's going to be important for Ramaswamy tonight? In my opinion, it's going to be very important for him to relate to voters in some sort of way and to have a moment where he's seen as genuine and really have a touching heart-to-heart moment with America. Ramaswamy needs that. His policy points don't stand by themselves. And somebody like Nikki Haley, for instance, or somebody like even Mike Pence is much better able to articulate their sort of vision for the country and why their policy specifically is better for the country. So we're going to see if lightning is going to be able to strike twice. I don't think he's going to perform as well as he did because a lot of the other candidates are going to be more prepared as well for his sort of style of attack. And I think that it's going to translate into him getting more heat from candidates and candidates basically having better responses prepared for his talking points. Now let's move on to Ron DeSantis here. Ron DeSantis needs something big to happen for his campaign if he's going to have any sort of tangible shot at really making it past Iowa and New Hampshire into the later states later in the primary. Ron DeSantis' stage presence was totally sucked up by Vivek Ramaswamy in the first debate. And I think that if Ron DeSantis doesn't have a strong showing tonight where it's obvious that he was able to stand up to multiple candidates and really solidify his vision for the country and why America should be like Florida and why his Florida blueprint is the best way for America to continue forward. Now, I don't think he's going to be able to make that point because the Florida blueprint is a bunch of crap and America shouldn't follow what Florida is doing. But man, it just seems like the Ron DeSantis campaign is in dire straits right now. And I made a video last week about this, about how even donors who earlier on were giving money to DeSantis and were seeing him as a potential alternative to Trump, they're sort of not feeling it about DeSantis right now. And if you look at so many different aspects of this race, you wonder what has happened to Ron DeSantis's campaign and why doesn't he try anything different to try to make more of a splash. It's really dumbfounding. And I think that Ron DeSantis needs to come out swinging. He needs to stay strong all night. And I really think that he has the most to lose by not having a strong showing. Now, let's assume that Ron DeSantis doesn't have a good showing and gets trampled over in terms of presence by somebody like a Vivek Ramaswamy, which I think is going to happen. So who else stands to gain if Ramaswamy isn't necessarily going to have the lightning in a bottle twice, and if Ron DeSantis doesn't fill the void with his stage presence and his Florida blueprint and or whatever, who else out there stands to gain? And you know what? I'm going to admit it. I was way too quick to write off Nikki Haley. I was way too quick to dismiss her as not having any sort of chance at all. Because I think that Nikki Haley is somebody that if she continues to do well in these debates, if she has a strong showing in Iowa and New Hampshire, if she comes in second place to Trump and she's able to leapfrog over DeSantis, she is somebody that in states like South Carolina, in states, other states in the South, and states in the northern part of the country, she is somebody that really, really ticks a lot of the boxes in terms of what you want from a candidate who's campaigning. Now, I disagree with nearly everything she says, but I believe that the way that she delivers her message in a very calm-mannered, sort of poignant, measured way, it's in complete contrast to somebody like DeSantis or Ramaswamy or Trump. It's in complete contrast to that. And the never Trump people who are wanting something different than the style of DeSantis and the style of Trump politics, Nikki Haley may just be sucking up quite a bit of voters who don't have any hope in DeSantis, don't have any hope in somebody like Chris Christie, and don't like Trump and want something different than Trump. I think that Nikki Haley has the potential to pick up quite a bit of voters, not only after this debate, but after the first primaries, the Iowa caucuses, and then the New Hampshire primary. And going to some of the other candidates, we got, Chris Christie's going to be up there, and Chris Christie's political problems are that he doesn't attract people. Basically, Democrats hate him and Republicans hate him. Democrats don't like Christie for political games that he's played in the past with the whole bridge debacle. And Republicans don't like him because he's the only one that's really saying the truth about Trump. And it's like nails on the chalkboard to hear anything that goes against the narrative that Trump is just the best thing ever since sliced bread for the Republicans. Okay, so Chris Christie, he's really in no man's land. And I think that a lot of the problems that plague Chris Christie are the problems that plague Mike Pence, in that he wants to say that he's going to be better than Trump and that we need to go a different direction than Trump. But then all of his accomplishments and all of his legacy, and the only reason anybody knows Mike Pence's name outside of the state of Indiana is because of Trump. So it's like, let's go back to the good old days when Trump was president and I was vice president. But this time I'm going to be president, and it's going to be more of the same, but different enough so that you shouldn't go and just vote for Trump. I mean, it's a hard pitch to voters today. And yeah, Mike Pence, Chris Christie, Doug Burgum, I believe, is going to be up there. He qualified. These guys are basically non-factors in my opinion at this point in the race. And Christie, while he did do a lot of interviews earlier on in the year, and he was really one of the first candidates in the race to hammer Trump in any kind of way at all, it gained him a little bit of favor, and it helped him out a little bit. But there's just so few voters out there that want somebody that's saying the truth about Trump. Okay. And if you do want somebody that's saying the truth about Trump, I think that a candidate like Haley, who she keeps her criticisms of Trump thinly veiled enough that it's not going to sick the MAGA crowd on her. And maybe this is going to be a problem for her as well, as she tries to sort of define herself from Trumpism and Trump's administration. Maybe as she starts to take a harder stance against him, that some of the problems that Mike Pence and Chris Christie have had in their campaigns, she might begin to experience as well. Now, as a hypothetical, so it remains to be seen if that's going to happen. But yeah, to basically sum it up, I think that Ramaswamy's great night he had, the first debate, I don't think it's going to be recaptured. I don't think DeSantis has the chops and has the cojones, quite frankly, to go toe-to-toe with other candidates on stage, and especially go toe-to-toe with Trump. He doesn't have the ability to do it. And I look at the rest of the candidates out there, and it just seems like a lot of non-factors, a lot of candidates that are not even going to be making it to the first Iowa caucus coming up here. So really interested in Nikki Haley, really interested to see how her style of messaging that is in direct contrast with some of the other candidates on stage. I'm really interested to see how it resonates with the American people, because I feel like there is a opportunity for a less bombastic, less pound my fist on the table and talk louder than everybody else sort of candidate. And Nikki Haley appeals to those people who want something else other than that. Let's see how she's able to distinguish herself from Trump and from Trumpism, because if she's able to do it in a articulate way without pissing off the MAGA people too much, to where she gets yeeted out into political no man's land like some of the other candidates, Haley is somebody that we could be talking about quite a bit more on this channel. All right, so that's all I got for you guys in this one. I want to thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below. Let me know who you think has the most to gain or to lose in tonight's debate. And until then, I'll catch you in the next video. All right, peace.